There are 33 heroes in Marvel Rivals to choose from, but fans are already itching for the next heroes to join the roster, and based on leaks that have been shared online, we now know a lot of heroes that are on the way, and their abilities, including ones that we can expect as early as Season 1. So let's take a look at the leaked hero abilities, starting with Ultron, who should be dropping in Season 1, and the full abilities for Ultron are now revealed. You can see some artwork for his full model, and he looks awesome, and I believe his avatar is going to look something like this. And you may not believe this, but Ultron is going to be a strategist with healing capabilities. And honestly, when you see the abilities, I think this is a great idea for Ultron. So starting off, his primary fire, he only gets one primary fire, and it's the Encephalo Ray. And this allows him to unleash a burning energy beam. So honestly, I think this will be pretty similar to Iron Man's laser. Probably not the exact same. I mean, you can see the icon here. You can make of that what you will. It could be one constant beam, or it could be pulses of beams, but he only has one primary fire. Now, as for the abilities, his shift ability, which is his movement, is dynamic flight, which allows him to fly quickly in the direction of movement and then enter a free flight mode. So it looks like if you're in trouble, you can quickly press shift and sort of dash in a direction of your movement, and then after that, you'll be in free flight, a bit like Iron Man, where you can fly around and hover around. I'm not sure what the time limit on this would be, whether it's a pretty long cooldown or a short cooldown, or if you can just enter free flight for as long as you want until you stop the ability. It'll definitely be interesting to see how much movement they do give Ultron. I'm sure he should have a pretty good amount. Now we get on to how good he is at healing, because his E ability is called Imperative Patch. It allows him to command a giant drone to follow an ally, constantly healing allies in its radius with additional healing for the designated ally. So he'll summon one of the Ultron drones. This will be a big Ultron-sized drone that will follow the teammate that you mark with it, and it will just pump them with healing. Constant healing in its radius for all allies. So not only is it healing the individual that you lock onto it with, it also heals all the teammates around that person, which honestly sounds great. And of course, the ally you choose will get bonus healing. And then we have his right-click Imperative Firewall. This summons multiple drones to grant bonus health to allies within range, centered on himself and the ally marked with Imperative Patch. So this is now multiple drones that will go out, first of all, following himself, meaning everyone gets bonus health, including Ultron, but also whoever you have Imperative Patch assigned to will also get a fleet of drones that will provide bonus health to them and everyone around them. So as you can imagine, Ultron's going to be able to passively heal himself and his team like crazy, allowing him to also focus on getting damage while his drones passively heal. And his passive ability allowed him to fall slowly by holding space. Pretty self-explanatory. And then we have his ultimate, Rage of Ultron, where you'll summon Ultron drones to fire Encephalo Rays, damaging enemies or healing allies. So you'll get a fleet of drones that will all be firing his primary fire that not only damage enemies this time, but also heal your allies. Now, I'm not sure if you'll control the drones manually, so you'll be pointing at who you want to damage or heal, or whether they passively work on their own, like once they're summoned, they'll just shoot on their own. I'm not sure. I think it'd be cool either way, but those are Ultron's abilities, and just from the description, of course, we don't know the ins and outs of exactly how these play, but they sound pretty good, and he sounds like a pretty great character to kick off Season 1. And if you guys were wondering when Season 1 starts, apparently it should be early January of 2025, so not too much longer to wait before we hopefully have Ultron in the game. Now, the next character that we have is Mr. Fantastic. Now, it turns out all of the Fantastic Four will be coming to the game at some point, but I believe that Mr. Fantastic will be released before the others, and it's likely that this will be in Season 1, especially since all the abilities are leaked, and it looks like he's pretty set to go. Of course, there's a model and everything. Now, of course, these are leaks, so things can always change, but a lot of people do believe this is going to be another Season 1 hero. Now, Mr. Fantastic will be a new duelist joining the roster. So let's talk about Mr. Fantastic's abilities, starting with his primary fire, the Elastic Punch. You stretch out a forward punch to attack enemies. Pretty similar to Venom or Groot, but of course with this description, we don't know exactly how fast these things will hit or how hard they'll hit, but you can kind of get the gist. Now, the shift ability, Reflexive Rubber, will stretch your body to absorb damage before launching stored damage in the targeted direction. So you pop this, and depending on how many people shoot at you or damage you during this will depend on the amount of damage it will output when you fire it forward. Then we have the flexible elongation, the E ability, where you select a target and dash at it, dealing damage to enemies and granting bonus health to allies. So providing a little bit of support for your teammates. What's interesting about this ability is that you do pre-select a target for using the ability, so you don't have to just dash and hope you hit. It looks like it will lock on as long as you're within range of the target, so it should be pretty hard to miss this ability, I'd imagine. Then we have rubber grip, the right click, which will extend your arms forward to entangle hit enemies. Then press left click to select and yank 2 more enemies. So it looks like this ability will allow you to bring players into range and damage them, and it will be interesting to see if you're able to use this to maybe pull people off the map, which could make for some pretty fun plays. And then we have the ultimate, the Brainiac Bounce, where you leap and smash, knocking back enemies within range, and upon hitting an enemy, you leap again up to 6 times. So one that can really stack, has some pretty huge potential in team fights, or if you're towards the end of a payload map, using this to just push them all off the objective constantly over and over again so that you can win the game, or definitely using this as a defensive ability to keep back certain hero ultimates. I can definitely see a lot of use for this for Mr. Fantastic, the duelist, who I expect to be coming in Season 1. And finally, there was some talk about Blade. Now you can see Blade's model here, and some people were saying Blade should be coming in Season 1, other people not too sure, so I thought I'd pop him in this video anyway, as it seems the names of his abilities were leaked, but not the full descriptions. So if he is coming in Season 1, it'll be nice for us to speculate in the comments what you think these abilities could mean and what they could do as a nice round off for the video. So Blade should be a duelist, and he'll bring 2 weapons onto the battlefield. Apparently the first weapon will be his iconic katana, which he carries on his back, and this will be a melee weapon that deals massive damage, and he'll also bring his hunting shotgun, which of course is a close range weapon. So it looks like he'll be using those 2 weapons, but it looks like his abilities will allow him to tap into his vampire side. So the passive is Bloodline Liberation. As I say, these are just the names of the abilities, and it sounds like this will give him some sort of buff, whether it's health or damage related, I don't know. Then ability 1 is called Stomp and Slash, so this just sounds like a pretty nice combo. And then ability 2 is the Dark Knight attack. Again, some kind of attacking move. Ability 3 is called Fang Deflect, so some kind of deflecting ability. Sounds pretty interesting. And then the ultimate is called New Moon, which I'd imagine would transform him maybe into his vampire side or something of the sort, making him pretty overpowered, maybe even giving him a whole new set of abilities while his ultimate is active. Of course, that's speculation, but there you go. Let me know what you think of these new heroes. Are you excited for Season 1 and the new heroes to drop? And since this is my first Marvel Rivals video, let me know in the comments who's your favorite hero in the game. And if you'd like to see more Marvel Rivals content on the channel, please let me know and I can keep you guys updated. And a reminder that this news was based off leaks, and as goes with all leaks, things can change before the heroes are released, but we should see in Season 1, which I believe is coming on January 9th. So I'm excited and I hope you are too.